Hello. I'm going to show you now how to create a window, a picture window, something like a frame in which you can put a sign on, for example, used in a game. And that's what I've been doing recently, is to try to create some signs around a game I've been making. So I'm going to try to show you how we do that in Blender and then export it to Unity. So let's take a look. This is the opening view when you open up Blender. You can then create something called a new file. And so we open the default file and we get that. Just a cube, which we can move around. On a Mac I'm using 2 fingers to do that. You can see it in different ways. Now it turns out that in Blender it's nice to have a way that I can move things around and show things in a different way. And here I can look at the X and Z axis of the cube. When I do that, if I wanted to make this more or less like a cube, I could press the Tab key to get into edit mode. That's what you do. Or you can just go to edit mode down here. If I'm in edit mode, I can press A, and that deselects everything. Now, if I just want to select, say for example, this one face, I can select the face tool, and if I then click, or with right click, on the Mac it's 2 fingers, I just click that and there, that face is selected. So if I wanted to make this cube look more or less like a picture frame, I can start out by moving that face back. Let's look at it a little more closely. You can see that it's well, it looks like what a thick frame would look like. Let's see now if we can indent the face here so that I could put a picture in it. It turns out that over on this side, and there's a pane called Transform, which will come and go if I press T, or I press T again, and it comes and goes. And it will now let me do some things with the mesh. I can in fact insert a face and make it I guess smaller than the one that's there, no problem. So if I come over here and just press the eye that it just told me, it'll now let me move that in. You can see, well, that's pretty good. That's a place I could put a picture. But let's make it look a little bit more like a picture frame by moving this face in. Oh, there it goes. Now it really looks like a picture frame, and that's your model. This could be a model of almost anything. It turns out that you've made. This was an easy one to make and show. But I want to show you now, how do I colorize it and put a, for example, a image inside here for the picture. For example, you're making pictures to hang on the wall in your house that you have in your game. Well, take a look up here at the upper right. There's this little place that looks like, oh goodness, some little lines that are at an angle here. If I take that, hold down the mouse, and drag, it'll let me create another window. And in that window, I can do a number of things. One is to get rid of this by pressing T again, and now we have more room to see. If I've pressed T, what I have to do is to tell what I'm going to do, that I'm looking at a UV map. This is the UV image editor view, and it changes it to that. Now I have to come back over here in the model view where I've been editing and select this set of edges around here to say that's where I want to place my picture. So in Mesh, I simply come in and go to Edges. And in Edges, I can find something that says Mark Seam. Mark seam means cut this out along this seam line and use it as a place where I can put in this image. If I press the key U, I can then say unwrap. And you see immediately that seam says I've got this over here in my flat view of what I'm doing as a place that I can put the image. Now we make materials and textures that go on objects. I'm going to make a simple base material by going up here to this line of icons and select that one, the round one. And I'm going to assign it. Okay, basically it's a white background. But now I'm going to layer on top of it a texture. And that texture is secured by pressing this button. That button says, oh, well, what kind of texture do you want? And it says, well, looks like image or movie would work. You could put a movie out there if you wanted to. That's pretty neat to have a movie in your picture frame, isn't it? And I can say, let's open a file. Now, I made a file some time ago called airport file. I put it on my desktop, and it's called airportsign.png. And that's it. It just says, it's a welcome sign that I have in the airport game. It says, welcome to Ancient Science Island. Okay, that's the island I have this on. And I want to put a sign out there that says, welcome. Well, there's several ways to do that, and I'll show you some others, but this one is really to show you what you can do with Blender, because you could make things that are obviously much more complex than what I've just showed you. Okay, so we've put that texture on there, and we wonder, can you see anything if I press Shift and then Z? Why, yes, you can. There it is. It put that view inside the picture frame. And you can see how it is. And there it is. So if I now say export, let's just do it, to FBX. And if I export it, I can put it let's just put it back on the desktop again. And I can put it, something says sign. .fbx. Okay, there it is. And it's now been exported. Well, it's not perfect, but you know, it'll do for our example. Now, so if I want to see what happens over here in the island view, there's some view that I've been working on in the airport runway in my game. And it's not very sophisticated right at this point that I'm showing you, and you can see some other signs I've been making. But let's just create this sign and place it over here. Let me grab that sign. It should be in my desktop, shouldn't it? And if I look down here, I'll probably find sign.fbx. There it is. And I'd like to just drag that over to my assets folder in Unity. Ta-da! Okay, it should be there. There's sign right now. Now, in order to get that over in, there's a bunch of stuff on it which I could work with, but I won't show you that right now. If you just drag it over to Unity, oh goodness, where is it? I saw it just a minute ago, didn't I? Oh, it's too far down. How to stick it over here and then raise it up a bit. So to raise it up, I'll select this tool there and just raise it up here. Oh, there it is. Kind of strange though, isn't it? Looks good, but we need to rotate it so it'll look like a nice sign. Let me rotate, oh, what's that around? That looks like it's around the XY, probably the the Y. No, it's not Y because that would be straight up and down. So we need to rotate this in this direction, right? And which direction is that? Okay, I'm here on it, and that direction means it would be around this red direction, or the X direction. And let's just try it out and see what happens. So I'm over here at X, go to 0. Oh, there it is, standing up. I'm not sure I like that, though. It looks like it's facing the wrong way. Maybe if I turned the whole thing around. And I probably can see that down here by looking up and moving over and viewing it. Welcome to Ancient Science Island. Everything looks perfect here, doesn't it? So we could, if I move the camera around, I'd see, of course, that from the other side. But it's a nice picture frame. And what we've shown is that we can actually and are able to create this from Blender. I imagine that if I clicked on this run, at this point it would allow me to connect, and I come over here and look back, and there it is. And so I need these kinds of signs to put them up in my airport that I have at this location, and to put it on other things around the island. So that's it. I'm glad this seemed to work. Good luck in putting something together yourselves.